welcome back. It's been a couple weeks. How have you been?
You know what, Michelangelo? I have been fantastic.
That's great to hear.
How are you?
I've been all right. I've got a little bit of a problem that I would like. I'd like to bounce off you and the listeners, and hopefully I can get some good feedback and maybe a possible solution to my problem here.
Okay.
So, I've talked previously on this podcast about noisy demon spawn children that live upstairs, correct?
For good reason.
Yeah. So, I would say the first, like, maybe year and a half I lived here. I've been here. No. It was maybe the first, 2 years I lived here. I had these two little demon girls that lived upstairs, and they made a lot of noise, and I would complain about them on the podcast, not actually to them. And they moved out, and this other couple moved in with two demon spawns of their own.
And they're worse.
And they are, not exaggerating, at least 5 times worse than the other children.
Yeah, I can tell by how much you've been complaining about them. Like a little bitch you are.
Yeah. So let me tell you how this has all gone down. So they've lived here probably 2, maybe 3 months. I'll say 2 months. And I've noticed that, the kids make a lot of noise. And at first I was just like, whatever. It's just the same thing I had before. Just little fucking demons living above me. Well, then I don't know if I just started noticing it and paying more attention or if it actually got worse. But I would say the last month, it has been so much worse than anything I have ever heard from any neighbor in my, almost 20 years of living in apartments.
Uh-oh.
This child or children just run and then jump and slam into the floor.
Oh, boy.
Constantly. And I noticed it was every day it was going on when I got home from work. And it would continue until maybe 8 o'clock, which is already bad enough. And it's so bad to the point where if I don't have the TV or music on, it's all I can hear.
Oh, that's fucking horrible.
Yeah. And then I started noticing it there's a couple days of the week just based on how my work day works out that I have to start maybe an hour later than I do the rest of the week. Just because if not, I'm getting too early of a start and then I have to end up waiting around. So I noticed that on the days when I don't leave until a little later, that this was starting to go on in the mornings as well. And
it's increasing. It's getting worse.
Yeah, it's definitely getting worse. So it's it's going on during the week. I've noticed in the mornings, starting at maybe 8 o'clock. And then it's going on all times of the afternoon. If I get home I usually get home around I don't know, between say 4 and 5 most days, maybe 6 o'clock sometimes. It's always going on.
Awesome.
And yeah, there were a couple times where I was exhausted. I had a long day. I was just sitting there. I was kind of just trying to take an afternoon nap. And my apartment is vibrating. like I can feel the children running.
It's not something you want to be able to feel.
No,
Excuse
no,
me.
I don't want to be feeling children in any capacity.
That's what goes without saying, I would hope.
Yeah, and so there were a couple times where I almost like rage like went upstairs and just like went off on the neighbor, and I was like, okay, just calm down, just wait it out and go talk to them one day when you're not all amped up, because
Yeah, it's not great to do that kind of thing when you're pissed off.
right. So over the weekend, Saturday, I was home all day until like, I don't know. I went out Saturday night, but I was home throughout the entire day, and it literally went on all day Saturday.
How is that possible?
I don't understand. I don't understand. And I almost like went up there in like a fit of rage. And then I was like, do I need to just like leave them a note? And then I was
That's
like,
a good
no.
place to start.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go work out. I'm gonna go like try and like blow off some steam, clear my head. Maybe the noise will be done when I get back. I'll be calmed down, and then like if it's not going on and I'm calm, I can just go up there and have like a nice civilized conversation. So I get home, and that shit's still fucking going on, not any quieter.
Yeah.
And once I like walked out of my apartment, went up the stairs, and I was like, nope, you're angry right now. You can't do this. And I like walked back down to my apartment. And Mac, you've known me
You're not a mad person.
You've known me in a personal and a work setting, and it takes a lot to get me like really upset.
Yeah, Mike like was like I am an easy person to get upset. I got annoyed by just about everything, and I would like vent about shit, and Mike would be the one who's kind of like, it's not that big of a deal. Like that's like Mike does not really get bothered by much.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you for backing me up on that. So I came back and I just like sat down and I like cooled off, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go up there and just knock on their door and have a conversation. So I knock on the door, and this guy answers, and I'll try and keep this conversation as word for word as possible. I was like, hey, I live in the apartment below you. I'm really sorry, but like there's a lot of noise that's been going on up here. Like all day. And it's every single day. And he was like, hey, first of all, I'm sorry about that. He's like, my name is, I honestly don't remember what his name is. It starts with an M. He seems very European, so it was a name that I hadn't heard before. So it's not like I just wasn't paying any attention. So I introduced myself, and for like a split second, I kind of felt bad about even saying anything. Not that I would have known, but he was like, yeah, I'm sorry about the noise. My son's autistic, and like, I can't control him. And
that's valid. It's hard to parent an autistic child.
Yeah. No, I get that. I for sure get that. And I was like, I I understand, like kids are hard. Like, I'm sure you've got extra challenges. And I was like, I'm just saying it's like, it's all day, every day, constant noise. Like, it shakes the pictures on my wall. And I've lived here for 2.5 years. I stretch the truth because the upstairs neighbors before were noisy, but in comparison, not even close. So I was like, I've never had an issue with any other neighbors making noise in multiple years of living here. And that's when the script flipped and he was like, well, have any of them ever been autistic kids? Because I can't control what he does and doesn't do. And I was like, I mean,
kind of sounds like you aren't fucking trying either.
Yeah, I was like, if they were, I couldn't tell you. So I'm gonna say probably not. And he's like, all right, well, I'll try my best to mitigate the noise. And I wish I would have thought of it at the time, but like, I should have been like, hey, you know what? If you've got an autistic kid that you can't control, which granted, I get it. That's not the easiest thing in the world. That presents other challenges. But maybe a third floor apartment with people below you is not the option. Like, maybe you live on a ground floor apartment where there's no one below you to hear him running and jumping all the time.
Yeah, if you're not... I mean, it's such a tough sitch because maybe like it wasn't so easy to just like find a place like that at the time. But like, if you know that's going to be an issue, then you need to like do what you can to mitigate it.
Yeah, and I forgot the part where he was like, well, it's an apartment and we share walls and ceilings and floors, so there's going to be some noise.
I hate that. I hate that because that's true, but there's a limit. Yes, it is true. And that's when I was like, well, in over 2 years, I've never had an issue with noise coming from anybody else. So, and then that's when he came back with, well, did they have autistic kids? Because I can't control it. So it was a very short and what seemed like unproductive conversation. I went back to my apartment. The noise seemed like it had gotten a little better for literally like 5 minutes, and then it was just back to what it was. And a few minutes later, I was taking Lily outside and I saw the mom and the other child coming into the building. And I don't know, maybe like the kid like doesn't listen to the dad very well or listens better to the mom, or maybe like the little demons were being fed or bathed or something, because the noise level was substantially reduced to what I would consider to be a normal, acceptable level. Sounds like the conversation needs to be had with mom next time.
Yeah. And so I had some high hopes for it. And then I went out. A friend of mine had like a little housewarming party on Saturday, so I was gone and I didn't get back until late. So those demons were already asleep. But then sure as shit, it was like all day Sunday, and like yesterday and today, I think it's actually gotten worse, because I typically wake up around, if I wake up on time, I'm waking up between like 7 and 7:30, and it was going on when I woke up. So it's literally going on like 12 to 14 hours a day, assuming it happens while I'm at work. But yeah, it was like 7 in the morning until I left like I don't know, 8:15, 8:30. And then it was, 5 o'clock until 8 or 9 last night. So what I'm asking you and our listeners, which the only feedback we're going to get is probably from Mike and from Brian, but any of the rest of you, if you have a similar situation or you have a suggestion for how to deal with this, I would like to hear yours, because I've only come up with 3 possible solutions that I could really realistically go with. But I would like to hear what you have before I go into mine.
I would say,
yeah.
Considering, the theory you've already created, I think the next step is to attempt to speak with the mother at any point that she is available, whether that be just like passing outside or just the next time you go up, just hoping that she's there instead of him.
Right.
And if at that point you get a similar response from her and or you get a lack of results from her, I think at some point, regardless of the situation, it is fair to go to the leasing office. I personally, even when it comes to non-extreme situations, I always view that as a last resort. But especially in this situation, it feels like an absolute last resort because the situations are extenuating. But, there,
right.
Again, there's a limit. Even if he's got a situation that makes it much less easily controllable, that a lack of trying is not, fair to you or other residents.
Right.
Especially considering like you said, he chose to live on the 3rd floor. He could have looked at the options that the apartment had available at the time and been like, oh, 3rd floor, because of my kid, I can't do that. But they chose not to do that.
Yeah, I live in a giant complex that always has units available. I find it very hard to believe that there would not have been a ground floor apartment available. But that's neither here nor there because I can't prove that. And not trying to compare an autistic child to a dog, but granted, I am very lucky. Lily does not bark at all. So that's not an issue I have to deal with. But if I had a dog that barked all day, every day, I can't just be like, well, sorry, neighbors, we live in an apartment. I have a dog. It barks. I can't do anything about it.
Right.
Go fuck yourself.
The office wouldn't accept that response.
Right. So I'm going to give it at least a week, maybe 2, and see where we're at.
You did the right thing by talking to them first. I don't think it's cool when they go straight to the office.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, granted, I don't make a lot of noise. I try to be aware of the volume of my TV or radio or anything. Because again, I realize we live in an apartment and other people don't want to hear that noise. That's fair. I don't like to even run my washer or dryer late at night just in case it's annoying to a neighbor. Sometimes I do, but I try not to. Yeah, so I think the first course of action is going to be to wait it out and see. Hopefully it gets better and just resolves itself on its own, because I really don't like confrontation, and I've already had to have more confrontation than I really want.
Right.
Course of action number 2, I could either contact the office and or apparently we have some sort of security patrol that I could call and file noise complaints. So that's possibly an option. Although, I don't know how that would work. I mean, it's not like they're playing music, it's
not something you can just turn down.
Right. And then there's option C, where I can try and just be the biggest pain in the ass, annoying neighbor without actually doing anything wrong. And I'm trying to think of ways that I can do this without actually violating anything in case this is the option that I decide to go with.
I don't think that's a great option.
It's probably not. The only thing that I've thought about that I could do, I tend not to sleep very well. So like I'll wake up I usually wake up like every couple hours throughout the night. Like I don't generally sleep all through the entire night. But I thought if I really wanted to be a super asshole at like 3 a.m. one time when I wake up, I could just like walk down like the 5 stairs and like just blast the buzzer to their apartment and then dip back in and go back to bed and wake everybody in their apartment up in the middle of the night. Because that seems like an asshole thing to do and something that they would probably be really annoyed by. And I'm really annoyed by the noise that their child makes.
I think that would just fuck up the noise problem more because you would disrupt the child's sleep schedule.
I mean, if it makes his life hell, then I'm fine with it. If this child continues with this, I literally want to make their life a living hell in any way possible. I think
I don't know, bro. I don't think that's a great response. I don't think it will resolve anything. I think the office should be your last response because if you press them enough, they're going to get evicted.
Well, no, I get that. And well, that's
which is not a great solution in and of itself, but like I would say that's better than, you know, responding by being a bigger dick than them.
No, I agree, and that's why contacting the office is not the last resort. If I do that and that still doesn't work, then I just try and be an asshole.
I suppose that's valid.
Yeah, because if you're gonna be a dick, I want to make you living above me just as annoying as it is for me to live below you. Because he really did not seem to give too much of a fuck about the fact that I was miserable in my living situation because of him. So if I can make life miserable for him, like if I cause him sleepless nights because his child's awake all night, then that might put a smile on my face because then at least we're both miserable.
All right, Mike.
But we'll see. Like I said, I'll give it a little bit of time, see if it gets any better. But so far, let's see, that was Saturday. We're 3 full days in, and it is so far worse than it was before I went up there. So I think I'll give it 2 weeks, give it an update on our next recording. And if it's not better at that point, then I'll either see what suggestions, if any, we get from listeners, and if there's nothing constructive, then then I'm just gonna contact the leasing office and see where it goes from there, and then we'll wait it out. And if Operation Ring the Buzzer needs to go into place, then we'll take it up at that point.
All right. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you. So that's been basically what's been going on the last couple weeks for me.
That was a very long story.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I didn't know that it was quite going to be that long, but because this is so topical, so relevant to the now, I wanted to make sure I got that whole thing out so then I can provide updates in the future. So I shelved a few things I had for the time being. But yeah, now that I'm done with that, let's hear about you. You said you've been doing all right.
Yeah. On a more uplifting note, I believe I mentioned at the beginning of the year that I had, certain goals set for myself and for my channel over
you did
over the next year that I wasn't going to disclose because I didn't want it to be like public knowledge. It was just for me. And there are several things I want to do this year, or things I want to achieve this year, but I kind of already managed to achieve the biggest one.
All right. What is that?
It's not even September, which is kind of pog. So last year, if I remember correctly, I rounded out the year around 4,000 subscribers. And like I mentioned when my Chainsaw Man video came out, kind of the greatest fear as a creator when you have one video that does really well is that you won't be able to replicate that success, that it's just going to be a one-off thing that like you're fucking done after that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So one of my goals was to hit 10,000 subscribers because that would be more than the amount that I gained last year in a shorter period of time.
Right. I want to say what you were around 1,000 when we started the podcast at the beginning of 2021, and you ended the year, you said what, around like 4,000?
We started the podcast in 2020, didn't we?
No, it was like January 21.
Yes, you're right. I don't remember where I was at then.
I believe you were just ready to break 1,000.
I don't think that. I think I hadn't started growing yet. I'm pretty sure my Godzilla video popped in that February, and then Berserk was later in August.
Okay, I thought that Godzilla pushed you over 1,000, but anyway,
it did, but it didn't start to blow up until February.
Okay, so you gained like
I would say I gained at least 4,000 subscribers last year.
Okay.
This is not the point of the story anyway, but my goal was to hit 10,000 and I did it. It's done.
Nice. Hell yeah, bro.
And, again, like it's really exciting because it's not even September. Like I still had 4 months to go to build that up.
That's awesome, man. Hella poggers.
Yeah, that's kind of a big one. Like, I mean, all of them have been big ones, but that's like a really big one,
Yeah, man.
That's the 5-digit mark. I'm into the 5 digits now.
Nice. How many do you need for YouTube to give you one of those plaques? Is it like 100,000?
100,000, yeah.
Okay.
Every person that I've told that I've hit 10,000 has asked that question.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think you got one for 10,000, but I was curious if it was like 50 or 100 or like 1,000,000 or whatever. But yeah. Cool. You're well on your way there. How many are you at right now?
I have not checked today. I have been getting close to 100 subscribers a day, so I think I'm sitting around 10,500 right now.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
I'm definitely not going to finish the year at 10,000. I wouldn't be shocked if I was sitting around like 13 or even 15,000 by the time the year ends.
Hell yeah.
Especially if my next video does as well as I think it will.
Yeah. Yeah, you gave me a little tease on what your next one's going to be about, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I did. Like I said, I think last podcast, like I did all or the vast majority of the filming, and I got to editing. And there's a particular kind of edit that I'm trying, where and like no specifics on like what I'm actually using in it, but I'm basically simulating a 3D space and like doing simulated cameras, almost like 3D animation, but it's not the same as like doing something like fucking Shrek. It's not like proper 3D animation. It's kind of simulated 3D animation.
Right.
Which is not a kind of edit that I'm used to, but it was one of those things I've mentioned before as an editor. Like, if there's something I think I want to do, I have to try it, even if I don't know if I can do it. So, and I've been happy with how the tests have been turning out, but because of me trying to figure that out, I haven't gotten a great start on the editing. But I think I've got just about everything I wanted figured out, and I should be able to get into the editing properly this week.
Okay. Nice.
I think it's gonna be a good video, and I've got some other projects I'm working on. I can't reveal at the moment because they're not actually mine. But that should be in and of itself give a hint as to how exciting it is.
Oh, you doing a little collab?
No, not a collab, no. But I am working with another creator at the moment. But it'll be a while before that's out.
Okay.
I mean, I guess technically it's a collab, but
yeah. But nice. Any of your other goals for the year that you've hit so far?
I mean, a lot. The other ones are like more subjective, like just make better videos, never stop working on videos. And I feel like I've already achieved like making a better video because my Chainsaw Man video does feel to me better than my Berserk video. But never stop working. Like that's one that isn't really going to be complete until the end of the year. Because if I slack off for the entirety of October, then I kind of fucked that one up,
Right.
But so far, I've done a great job at like not stopping.
Nice. Good for you. Yeah, you're like a full, like almost 7.5 months into the year. So nicely done.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm real happy about it. I feel real proud of that figure. It's, not as I say pretty much every time I reach some kind of milestone. It's really not to the point yet that I can like definitively say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a full-time YouTuber at some point. But
yeah,
it's like every one of those milestones I hit is in my mind like, oh, some large percentage of other YouTube creators that have since like given up or not made it to that point. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the percentile of people who make it to 10,000 subscribers is much lower than the percentile of creators that make it to 1,000 subscribers.
Right.
And I'm in that group now, and that's crazy because it's so huge and such an advancement on my career.
Yeah, your channel has grown so much over just the last year and a half or so, I guess. Really, since Godzilla blew up, you've really just been going to the moon.
Yeah, and it really does seem it really. I mean, this is something I knew about YouTube. Obviously, like it really is very exponential. Like once you get the ball growing, like it just grows faster and gets faster and all that and grows bigger and like I said, over the past week or so, my channel's been pulling close to 100 subscribers a day. That's such an insane amount. And even when my channel was like first blowing up, I wasn't pulling those kinds of figures. So, it's all relative is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was afraid that when the Godzilla video blew up, that like the people who were subscribed were only subscribing for that kind of content. And that was it was going to be a while before I had another chance to like show what I was capable of, and was even considering like pivoting my content more to do that kind of thing more, just so I could capture that audience more. But, then I had more videos blow up, and it kind of cemented in my mind that like, oh, it's not the subject matter that people are interested in. It's like the quality of my videos, the content of them. And that feels good.
Yeah. Nice. Well, you're doing a good job, man. At least, even if the subject matter isn't something that would draw in my interest outside of knowing you, I've definitely seen like a step up in quality as your videos progress. So you're definitely doing a good job there for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, just that if anybody watching has been following my channel or came from my channel, thank you. That's awesome. Obviously, I actually have been forgetful and haven't made an announcement about it. So I really need to do that. But I'm obviously like, you know, when there have been times throughout my quote unquote career, like where I hit a point where I kind of just feel like I am going to make it. And even that was like not even like while I've been actually blowing up. That's just been like while making videos. Like it's something I enjoy doing so much. And the videos I would make, they would have some edit or some nature to them that I'd be like, this is like special. I have something here. I've always felt like this is right for me, but it's always been a question of whether or not I would actually be able to do it. And there are like a lot of times throughout my career where I felt like, yes, I can do this. This is something I can succeed at, even though the chances of succeeding at it are so low. And I feel now more than ever like it's really is possible. And that's a really good feeling given how long and how hard I've worked on it.
Nice. Good. It's good to get that that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
Nice, man. I like it. We definitely need to I mean, I can throw up a post at some point. But I know Brian has mentioned a couple times like, oh, you guys really got to like throw a link to Mack's work in your description or something, so I don't have to like, or so listeners don't have to like search for how to find you. So
it is in the description. What the fuck? Who do you take me for?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know what description he's going off of. I don't know if you throw it in every one, but
you know, I don't think it's on the Spotify stuff because those links don't turn into hyperlinks, which is super annoying.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll have to throw something up for you here at some point, so the little listeners can give you a watchy watch and a sub.
I mean, they already missed their chance to be part of the first 10K, so they're already dead to me. But I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, I mean, I was part of the first 1K, so I'm pretty hyped about that.
Yeah. There's been a bit of a meme in my Discord where everybody's been spamming like we're just early whenever someone new joins the Discord and talks about how much they like my video, and the joke is that like I'm an underrated creator and they're just early to the blow up, and I keep telling them that it's not real. Like it's going to continue to be like a slow, steady growth, but I also keep getting proven wrong. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, hopefully you do keep getting proved wrong, and
I definitely don't feel bad being wrong about that.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it feels good to be wrong.
It's just one of those things where, like, you know, I spent so many years failing that it just kept feeling more and more impossible that I would ever succeed. So I've kind of just I don't get my hopes up ever. Even now, like you can hear it in the way I'm talking about it. Like even though I feel like it's more possible than ever, I'm still sitting here like, you know, nothing's certain yet.
Right.
And while I think that's a good mindset to be in, it does feel good to be proven wrong. and it's like I talked about like with the fucking Chainsaw Man video. Like I knew that video would appeal to the audience that I've built, but I still didn't expect it to do all that well. Just because, like, with a lot of YouTubers, you don't see a large percentage of their existing audience actually watching new videos, and I didn't expect it to blow up until the anime was announced and or released. And, you know, I expected the video to fucking I expected the video to plateau around 1,000 views until the anime came out. now it's hang on, I'll take a look and I'll give an exact amount. It has done 141,000 times better than I expected.
Damn.
Or 100, sorry, not 141, 141 times better than expected. Because it's at 141,000.
Nice.
That also gives me hope for when the anime does come out, because that'll have like a fucking renaissance where there's renewed interest in the video. And by then, it'll already have a high view count, and YouTube will already be like, oh, people like this. We'll put it in front of new people.
Yeah. Damn.
So I can't shake the feeling that the video is still in the early stages of its come up, which is a good feeling, but
yeah, that's awesome, man. That's pretty poggers.
It's
141,000 views.
It's getting close to surpassing the Berserk video, and I would feel really good if it did, because again, I would have replicated my original like major success, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm looking at your channel right now. Yeah, your Chainsaw Man in 3 months has double the views of your Godzilla video, which was like your first big blow up.
Yeah, that one's kind of a special exception. Like that one kind of did its thing and then petered off. And it was literally like, and I thought this was just what to expect when it came to videos blowing up because of this, but it was literally like, it did really well for 2 weeks. And then the views tapered off significantly. What I've been seeing with the Berserk and Chainsaw Man videos is that they get views for months after their release. So the Godzilla one really was like a one-off, like the algorithm just decided blast it for a bit and then it was done kind of thing. But these are more like sustained success, like over a long period. I had like a greater number of views over a single day with the Godzilla video, but it wasn't sustained. It didn't stick around.
Right.
Now, like the Chainsaw Man video managed to pull in a similar number of views in a single day, but consistently over a period of time.
Yeah.
So it's all pretty wild. It's all pretty wild, and I don't know. Like I said, I've been doing my channel since 2017, and until 2020 or 2021, whenever it was, I couldn't get past 200 subs. I got used to failure, and I was okay with failure. I could accept failure. So I'm not used to success, and it feels really good.
There you go, man. Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Anything else going on with you?
Not a ton. I after getting my demo reel all together, I applied for some jobs, and that I literally applied on Saturday, and I haven't heard anything back yet, but it's only been a few days, so it's not like I expect anything right away. But like I said, it's going to take a while to find something given my lack of proper work experience. But
right,
I feel pretty good about the state of my demo reel, and I feel like while my resume is less than impressive and it's kind of what's holding me back, I feel like if I can get just one person to give me a shot at an interview, I can kind of prove my worth. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, and I'm just applying for jobs. I'm applying for one job a day right now until somebody calls me.
Nice. That's pretty solid if you're doing a job a day. Like,
yeah, I'm hoping I'll be able to find something in a relatively small amount of time.
Yeah. No,
even though I don't super expect to.
I mean, just think of it like your channel. Like,
you're right. Like, I'm expecting failure again, but it's hard not to.
I mean, that's not necessarily the best outlook to always have, but I mean, at least you're not going to be disappointed.
Well, it's kind of one of those things, and I didn't really, same with your partner, so I didn't mean to talk about this for so long, but it's kind of one of those things, like, with YouTube being such a volatile platform, and with, it being so uncertain whether or not you can like find success on there. I think that if you do YouTube with the expectation that you'll succeed, you're going to ultimately end up being disappointed more than likely, because it's so unlikely. But if you can make YouTube videos with while accepting that you will, not may, but you will never succeed, and you're okay with that, that's like the ultimate indication that like you're good to keep doing it, because you clearly have like an actual proper love for it. So
yeah,
that's kind of how I think about it. Like if I can like accept that my channel will never, after the Godzilla video came out, if I could accept that my channel would never see that kind of success again and still feel happy doing it, then that's the ultimate like indication to me that I should be doing that and that it's right for me, because I'm not doing it for success. I'm doing it because I enjoy it.
Nice.
And to some extent,
that's a good outlook to have.
Yes. And to some extent, that's kind of how I feel about like my job prospects. Like I want to do it for a job, but it's not why I do it. I don't do it for a job. So if I, go in expecting not to be able to find a job and I'm okay with that, then, I can keep applying, feeling good about myself.
Yeah. Right on, man.
I never built my skills for the purpose of finding a job. I intentionally never sought out a job for many years. So I'm not upset if I don't manage to find anything. I don't have an exceptional resume. I don't have a degree, All I have are my skills, and I just have to hope that I find an employer who respects that.
Yeah. And I think eventually you will.
It's just going to take time.
Yeah, the part that kind of sucks, especially with finding a job the last, I don't know, say 10 to 15 years, so much of it is based on like a digital resume versus like
face-to-face stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like
I really feel that. I really feel that right now.
Like your passion for your work
doesn't show through on my resume.
Right. It's going to come through better in person than it ever will in a resume. So
right, like you look at my resume and you see, oh, this guy has one position listed for his video work, and it was an internship in high school. But then you talk to me, you ask me questions, and you find out, oh, this guy really knows his shit. Like he understands all the facets of video editing. He's very experienced with it. He has all like you can ask me like, oh, tell me about a time you had a technical issue and how you resolved it. And I have a million fucking stories to tell, like there's a big difference between what you see on a resume and what you see face to face.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You're right that like because of the digital age, like they don't have to meet you face to face to judge you, because they can just download your resume and be like, oh, fuck this guy.
Right. You just got to get someone that's willing to give you that interview, and
exactly.
That's probably where you're going to catch your break.
I really genuinely feel like if I can just get an interview, I'll be fine. But until then, I have no high hopes.
Well, good luck on catching that interview.
Thank you.
Have you ever seen the movie Pixels?
I have seen it. Peter Dinklage playing a caricature of Billy Mitchell.
Okay. So I have not seen it. But I am looking.
Not good.
Okay, well, I'm looking at a DVD copy of it right now, because the other day when I was at Kroger, it was marked $7.99 and 75% off. So I figured for $1.99 I'd just add it to the collection and maybe watch it one of these days. But yeah, Pixels. I figured you might have seen that because it's like video game based.
Yeah, I don't remember when or why I watched it. It's not good, but it's a very like boardroom writers who've never touched a video game before trying to apply it to the gamer market kind of movie.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh yeah, dude, Pac-Man, that's super relevant these days.
Did they make a second one? Was that a thing?
That does not sound familiar, but I have no idea.
God, I really hope they didn't, because then I just fucked myself again, like with Jumanji, and I'm gonna have to buy the second Pixels.
Yeah.
Oh, why am I like this?
But yeah, they have a character. I talked about this guy on a previous podcast at some point, Billy Mitchell, of fraud Donkey Kong champion who was never actually, who's more than likely not actually the champ. They had Peter Dinklage play a caricature of that guy. And it's just really funny because, you know, this guy has such an ego on him. So the idea of getting a very short man to play him is great.
Yeah.
And especially like they nailed his like absolutely shit hairstyle that just looks so fucking gross.
Ugh.
I think he tried to sue them, but he definitely didn't get anywhere with it.
Nice.
He tries to sue anybody who's mean to him.
Nice. Well, I'm glad he didn't get anywhere with it, because probably like parody law, because that's the thing.
Yeah, well, it's funny because a ton of these guys, they always try to sue for defamation without understanding what the fuck defamation means. You can't, like, if someone says something mean about you, that's not defamation. If someone, you know, creates false evidence to prove that you've done something illegal and then, you know, slander your name through doing so, that's defamation. It's very different.
Right.
But all these guys are always like, they made a mean cartoon version of me. That's defamation because they said bad things about me. It's like, it's fucking not.
Right.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
But they always lose, so it's always fun to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just getting butthurt and then not getting anything out of it.
It's honestly surprising that some lawyers even take cases like that. I guess if you get paid well enough, but how can you stand that like hit to your reputation? Because you know you're going to lose that fight as a lawyer. You have to.
Right.
You have to like be able to recognize when your client is just has a false understanding of what defamation is when you're a lawyer who had to study it to you know fucking fight for them.
Yeah. Yeah, like they've got to be going into that being like, well, clearly this is going to be an L. Like,
yeah, this very clearly a lost cause.
Yeah. I guess if there's enough money in it, that's how you take that case. But yeah, going in knowing you're gonna lose, that can't be a good feeling.
No, being a lawyer, it's got to be fucking so hard. Just not in slightly in terms of it being just a boring sounding job, but also just there's so many rules you have to know, and so many like there's so many like little things about being a lawyer that you have to know to do the job. Like I heard a story of a case once where these guys, they were the court mandated defense lawyers for a serial killer. And one thing that they could not get the serial killer to do in the court case was to disclose the locations of the bodies of his victims.
Okay.
But he told his lawyers. But the lawyers decided controversially, and they got in a lot of trouble for this, and I feel wrongfully so, they decided not to disclose that information because of client confidentiality.
Yeah, aren't they? I thought they like legally could not disclose that.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but I guess there's some gray area about it where if it's information like that is, you know, I don't know, I guess like relevant to the sanctity of the victims or whatever. I don't know. I don't fully understand it myself. Like they got in trouble for it and got reprimanded for it and basically lost their law careers over it because no one would hire them after that. And I think that kind of sucks because I really do feel like they did the right thing. Like that client had confidentiality. Even if it's something as sick as that, like you can't just decide when that doesn't count.
Right. Because if you give that information away, then like you're jeopardizing.
You're opening yourself to getting. You're jeopardizing your law degree. You're opening yourself to getting sued by that client. Like, not to mention that it makes their case weaker, but that's significantly less important in a case like this because they were fucked to begin with.
Right. Right.
Like there was very little doubt to begin with, but
Ugh.
they were put in a tough spot and they did what they thought was right. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a real shitty spot to be in.
Yeah, fuck being a lawyer, man. I'm not into it. Although speaking of being a lawyer, Better Call Saul had its finale a couple days ago.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. The only way to watch Better Call Saul was to either have a cable subscription or subscribe to AMC's personal streaming service, because every channel has their own streaming service now because streaming's turning into the same thing as cable.
Yep.
So what my friend and I decided, Sean, him and I watched all of Better Call Saul together to begin with. We decided that we would abstain ourselves from spoilers until the season ended and then get a free trial of AMC Plus and watch all of it in one go. So I haven't seen it yet, but I'm very much looking forward to finally being able to watch the final season.
Okay. Okay, nice. Yeah, I withheld spoilers on the latest season of Stranger Things until I caught up, because they released like, I think it was like 6 or 7 episodes at once, and then like a month later they released the final 2. But I didn't even want to hear anything about anything being leaked on like those last 2 that hadn't been released yet. So I just didn't look at anything until after I watched the entire season. So yeah, I know how that goes.
Yeah, and it sucks too because fucking YouTube is the worst place ever for spoilers of pretty much any kind. I got like a major spoiler for Better Call Saul like right when the season started, and I'm fucking pissed about it. And I told my friend, and I was like, I'm not going to obviously tell you what that spoiler is, but I'm fucking annoyed. Like, it was a major spoiler. And there was nothing I could have done about it because YouTube just shoved it in my face.
That sucks. Sorry, you caught me taking a drink, but
it sucks. I get it. I get the many reasons why it's a thing, right? Like, YouTubers need to grab your attention, so you click on their specific videos so they make a payday. I do it too. You know, people like to refer to it as clickbait, but it's not always clickbait. But, you know, I come up with like quote unquote clickbait titles. Like I named my Chainsaw Man video, Chainsaw Man is deeper than you think. That was not the thesis of my video. My thesis was about the subtle writing in it. And I could have called it like, the Chainsaw Man has incredible subtle writing, but that wouldn't have been as attention grabbing of a title. So I gave it a different name. But the name that I gave it was still relevant to the video, and it didn't spoil anything about Chainsaw Man. There are a lot of, especially manga YouTubers, who just outright spoil stuff in both their titles and thumbnails. And that sucks because, you know, when it comes to manga, you have the manga first and then the anime comes out months later. You don't get the same information until way down the line when it gets adapted. So like there'll be major reveals in One Piece, like one that I talked about a little bit in a previous podcast, that just were immediately in these manga YouTubers' thumbnails. And I feel so bad for anybody that is an anime only watcher who just got outright spoiled because some asshole wanted a payday.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks. You really got to have a warning if you're going to have spoilers.
Yeah, it's really shitty. And the thing too, like, for the people who are following the manga, who are going to be interested in that video, like, they're going to know what you're talking about if you give, like, an allusion to it that doesn't spoil anything. Like, fucking, let's say there's a character reveal. Don't put them in the thumbnail. Put a silhouette of them in the thumbnail. Or something like that. Like, you don't need to outright spoiler it to have an attention-grabbing thumbnail. You're just being lazy because you can't think of something better.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
man.
annoying. But that's my rant. I'm tired of saying that on YouTube. I think we all are, but there's nothing outright wrong with it, so it's never going to stop because it works.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just really shitty.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up this episode because closest to when it actually happened. But I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna make another cheesecake tonight.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. Because you and I are cheesecake boys.
Cheesecake's fucking lit.
Yeah. I was just scrolling through like Instagram, and I saw a video start playing for a protein cheesecake, and I was like, I think I can hack that even better. And I did, and I'm gonna try and do it even better this time. It ended up looking pretty decent once it was topped, but I know normally with cheesecakes you use like a water bath to keep it from cracking. So I think I'm gonna try that this time.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah, and I'm gonna actually make like a blueberry topping for it instead of just like dumping blueberries on it. But
then you'll have to send me some so I can eat it on stream.
Yeah. Now I will say, like if you blindfolded me and fed me bites of cheesecake, which I would absolutely love. That sounds like a perfect day. I would not rate it as a great cheesecake. I'd be like, this cheesecake is just okay. Like maybe like a slice of cheesecake you'd get from a gas station or something. Not
what a nice review.
Yeah, but when you factor in that it's a protein cheesecake, or as I like to call it, a brotein cheesecake, and it is loaded with all sorts of good stuff and lacking all sorts of bad things. I have this thing hacked so well. Basically it's to the point where I can eat an entire cheesecake for dinner, and that is perfectly acceptable because of the nutrients involved in it.
Nice.
Yeah. So my original one ended up being for the entire cheesecake, I think it was like a 8-inch cheesecake maybe. It ended up being just under 800 calories and 80 grams of protein. And I think with like my tweaked version that I'm going to do today, I think it'll be like maybe like 730 calories and like almost 90 grams of protein. And virtually no sugar. So, yeah, it's loaded with like all your vitamins and nutrients, and you could basically eat one in the morning and one for dinner and be eating a pretty fairly healthy diet with a couple servings of fruit.
There you go. The cheesecake diet. You can make millions patenting that.
Hell yeah, man. That's next on the list, the cheesecake diet. I gotta get on that, but gotta get it perfected first. So we'll see how this one comes out. But I figured I'd throw that photo up because I know how much you enjoy cheesecake as well as I do.
Sure do.
It's among my favorite forms of cake, even though it's kind of more like a pie, but semantics.
I mean, that's the same as like, oh, white chocolate isn't really chocolate. I don't give a shit. It's delicious.
Right. White chocolate is fucking delicious. A lot of people just don't understand that.
A lot of people are fucking idiots, just like our listeners who now have to wait for the next episode.
Yep. See you in 2 weeks.
Dumbass!